For months, Ahaan waited for the day he feared might never come. Every afternoon, the familiar rumble of the mail truck was a source of both hope and anxiety. He'd watch from his window, heart pounding, as it made its way down his quiet street. Each day, the mailbox held bills, flyers, everything but the one letter that mattered. His friends had already gotten their news, their futures neatly stamped and sealed. He'd smile and congratulate them, but inside, a knot of worry tightened. He poured everything into that application late nights, studying, sacrificing weekends, rewriting his personal essay until the words felt like a part of his soul. He remembered his guidance counselor's words, a gentle warning about a reach school. "It's competitive, Ahaan. Make sure you have backups." He did, of course, safe choices. Practical paths. But his heart was set on one place, a university that felt less like a school and more like a destiny. His parents, ever supportive, tried to manage his expectations. "Whatever happens, we're proud of you," his dad would say, ruffling his hair. His mom would just give him that knowing look, the one that said she understood his dream was fragile. But as the weeks turned into a month, and then two, the silence from the admissions office felt deafening. Doubt started to creep in, whispering that maybe he wasn't good enough, that he'd aimed too high. Then, one sunny afternoon, it happened. He was in his room, trying to focus on homework, when he heard the familiar sound. He didn't even look out the window this time. What was the point? He heard the front door open and close, his mom bringing in the mail. A few moments later, a soft knock on his door. "Ahaan," his mom said, her voice different, holding an emotion he couldn't quite place. "There's something for you." He walked out, and there it was. A thick, crisp envelope with the university's crest in the top corner. His breath caught in his throat. This was it. His hands trembled as he took it. It felt heavier than paper, weighted with all his hopes. He ran out the front door, not wanting anyone to see if his world came crashing down. He tore it open, the sound ripping through the quiet afternoon. His eyes scanned the first line, the words blurring together. "We are pleased to inform you, ... He read it again. And again. The letters finally clicked into place, the meaning sinking in. A wave of pure, unadulterated joy washed over him, so powerful it almost knocked him off his feet. He looked at the letter, then up at the sky, a huge, goofy grin spreading across his face. It was real. It was happening. This wasn't just an acceptance letter. It was the beginning. It was proof that daring to dream, working tirelessly, and holding on to hope against the odds wasn't foolish. It was everything. For anyone out there waiting for your own letter, for your own moment, don't lose faith. Your hard work matters, and your day will come. Thank you for watching this story. If it resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more content that celebrates the journey. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to tell you a story. It's a story about waiting, about hope, and about a single piece of paper that held the weight of a world. This is the story of Ahaan and Alara. For 5 long years, Ahaan's life had a rhythm, a ritual. Every morning, he'd walk to the end of his long, dusty driveway, his heart a nervous drum against his ribs. He'd peer into the old metal mailbox, searching for one thing, a letter with his brother's familiar slanted handwriting. For 5 years, those letters had been his lifeline, each one a precious snapshot from a world away. Alara, serving in a remote outpost, wrote of strange landscapes, of the camaraderie he shared with his unit, and of the stars, so bright they looked like scattered diamonds on black velvet. He wrote about everything, except when he was coming home. Ahaan treasured every word. He'd read them aloud to their aging dog, Leo, who would wag his tail as if he understood. He'd trace the postmarks, imagining the journey each letter had taken to reach him. He kept them all, tied in neat bundles with twine, a library of hope stacked on his nightstand. But as the seasons turned, a subtle fear began to creep in. The letters became less frequent. The vibrant descriptions faded, replaced by shorter, more practical sentences. Ahaan's hope started to feel heavy, like a stone in his gut. The mailbox, once a symbol of connection, began to feel like a monument to his loneliness. He threw himself into work, tending their small family farm with a fierce determination. He told himself he was doing it for Alara, so that when he returned, he'd find everything just as he'd left it, only better. He repaired the old barn, painted the fence, and planted a field of sunflowers, Alara's favorite. The bright yellow heads followed the sun, a silent, hopeful audience to Ayahan's endless waiting. Still, every evening, after a long day's labor, he'd sit on the porch, staring at the horizon, the silence of the countryside amplifying the silence from his brother. The what-ifs were his unwelcome companions in the twilight. Then came the silence, a month with no letter, then two. The mailbox stood empty, mocking him. Ahan's hope, once a roaring fire, was now just a pile of dying embers. His friends and neighbors tried to offer comfort, but their words felt hollow. How could they understand the unique agony of waiting for a brother who was more like a part of his own soul? He stopped going to the mailbox every day. The walk felt too painful, the potential for disappointment too great. The world seemed to have faded to gray, the vibrant colors of his life muted by worry. One sweltering afternoon, as Ahaan was fixing a loose hinge on the front gate, the mail carrier's truck rumbled down the road. He barely looked up, he'd given up. The driver, a kind man named Ben, who had watched Ahaan grow up, honked his horn. Reluctantly, Ahaan wiped the sweat from his brow and walked over. Ben held out a single, official-looking envelope. It wasn't Alara's usual stationery. Ahaan's hands trembled as he took it. He didn't recognize the seal. His heart plummeted. This was it. The news he'd been dreading for years. He walked back to the porch in a daze, his legs feeling like lead. He couldn't bring himself to open it. He just sat there, the envelope a dead weight in his hand. Leo came and rested his head on Ahan's knee, whining softly. Finally, taking a shaky breath, he tore it open. His eyes scanned the formal text, his mind refusing to process the words. And then he saw it. A short, stamped line at the bottom. Service completed. Returning home. Ahaan read it again, and again. The words blurred as his eyes filled with tears. Not tears of sorrow, but of overwhelming, earth-shattering relief. It felt like the sun breaking through after a lifetime of storm clouds. He clutched the letter to his chest, a choked sob escaping his lips. But today, the letter finally arrived. The waiting was over. Alara was coming home. Thank you so much for listening to this story. If you were moved by it, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content. See you in the next one. Have you ever waited for someone with so much anticipation that your whole body trembles? That's where Ahaan found himself, a solitary figure against the bustling backdrop of the city. Every bus that rumbled past was a new wave of hope, a potential carrier of the person he longed to see. His hands, usually so steady, now shook with a nervous excitement that was impossible to contain. It was a feeling both terrifying and exhilarating, a cocktail of emotions swirling within him as the world rushed by, oblivious to the monumental moment unfolding on that street corner. He replayed this scene in his mind 1,000 times, each version slightly different, but all ending with the same joyful reunion. He imagined the bus pulling up, the doors hissing open, and then a familiar face emerging from the crowd. He thought about the first words they would say, the first hug, the way time would seem to stand still, just for them. But imagination is a pale substitute for reality, and the waiting, the not knowing, was a unique form of sweet torture. The sun began to dip lower, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The streetlights flickered to life, one by one, casting long shadows on the pavement. Ahaan checked his watch, not for the time, but as a nervous habit, a way to anchor himself in the present moment. He'd been standing there for what felt like an eternity, yet he wouldn't have moved for anything. This spot had become sacred ground, the epicenter of his hopes and dreams. He remembered the last time they spoke. The conversation was filled with promises and plans, a blueprint for a future they were building together, brick by brick, across miles of separation. "I'll be on the first bus I can get," they had said, their voice a comforting melody over the phone. And Ahaan had believed them, without a shred of doubt. Faith was the invisible thread that connected them, stronger than any distance. Another bus approached, its headlights cutting through the growing dusk. Ahan's heart leaped into his throat. He strained his eyes, scanning the windows, searching for that one face among the many. The bus slowed, its brakes groaning as it came to a stop just a few feet away. The doors opened with a familiar sigh. Passengers began to disembark, a stream of anonymous figures melting into the city night. Ahaan held his breath. Was this it? Was this the moment? His entire world had shrunk to the space between him and that open bus door. One by one, people stepped out. A student with a heavy backpack, a woman with grocery bags, an elderly man leaning on a cane. His hope began to flicker, the tremor in his hands turning from excitement to a subtle quiver of doubt. Had he missed them? Was he at the wrong stop? Did he get the day wrong? A storm of questions brewed in his mind. And then, just as the last passenger seemed to have stepped off and the doors were about to close, a figure appeared, silhouetted against the bus's interior light. They paused at the top of the steps, looking out into the evening crowd. Their eyes met Ahaan's. A slow smile spread across their face, a beacon of light that cut through all his anxiety. The world fell silent. The city noise, the passing cars, the distant sirens, it all faded away. There was only that smile. Ahaan felt a grin stretch across his own face, so wide it felt like it might split. He took a step forward, then another, breaking into a run. The waiting was over. All the uncertainty, the anxious moments, they all dissolved in that one look of recognition. This was the moment he had waited for, the moment he had dreamed of. And it was more perfect than he could have ever imagined. The reunion wasn't just about closing a physical distance. It was about two souls finding their way back to each other, proving that some connections are worth every second of the wait. Thank you for watching our story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that touches the heart. The rhythmic rumble of tires on pavement, a sound that's been the soundtrack to your life for what feels like an eternity. The bus, painted in a color that's meant to blend in, slows to a crawl. This isn't just another stop. This is the asterisk stop. A hiss of air brakes, and the world outside comes into focus. The door swings open, a metal rectangle framing a new chapter of your life. One by one, polished black boots meet the unyielding asphalt. A solid, definitive thud. It's the sound of arrival. The sound of commitment. The sound of a promise being kept. You take your first breath of this new air. It's different. It smells of dust, jet fuel, and something you can't quite name yet. Maybe it's discipline, maybe it's destiny. You look around, and you're not alone. To your left, to your right, are faces you don't know, but you feel a connection. Each person here stepped off this bus with the same sound, the same purpose. You're a collection of individuals from every corner of the country, from every walk of life. But in this moment, as you stand in formation, you are one. The uniform is new, the boots still stiff, but the spirit is ancient, passed down through generations. Think about the journey that brought you here. The early morning runs when the world was still asleep. The conversations with family, the mix of pride and worry in their eyes. The recruiter's office, the endless paperwork, the oath you took with your hand raised. Every single step, every sacrifice, every decision has led you to this exact spot, to this piece of concrete under your boots. It wasn't easy, and nobody promised it would be. But you're here, That in itself is a victory. You answered a call that few are willing to hear, let alone answer. Now the real work begins. The sun beats down, a stark contrast to the air-conditioned bubble of the bus. You can already feel the heat, a preview of the trials to come. Ahead, a figure in a crisp, sharp uniform stands waiting. Their expression is unreadable, but their posture speaks volumes. It speaks of standards, of excellence, of a challenge. This is the gateway to becoming something more than you were when you stepped on that bus. You'll be broken down, yes, but only to be rebuilt. Stronger, sharper, more resilient than you ever thought possible. You'll learn to march in unison, to think as a team, to trust the person next to you with your life. You'll discover reserves of strength you never knew you had. There will be days you want to quit, days when you question your choice. But you'll also experience a camaraderie so deep, it becomes a bond stronger than steel. You'll laugh in the face of exhaustion, find humor in the struggle, and celebrate small victories that feel monumental. These strangers around you will become your family. This patch of asphalt will become the foundation upon which you build a new identity. Look down at your boots one more time. They are clean now, but they won't stay that way. They will be caked in mud, scuffed from drills, and worn from miles of marching. Each mark will tell a story of perseverance, of honor, of service. The sound they made hitting the ground was just the first note in a long, powerful symphony. This is not an end, but a powerful beginning. The door has opened. You've stepped through. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. The journey is just getting started. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that honors and sacrifice. See you in the next one. Some reunions are just a moment in time, but others feel like they span lifetimes. This is the story of Ahaan, a boy whose world was shaped by a silent promise and a picture on his bedside table. For as long as he could remember, his father was a hero in a faraway land, a figure in a crisp uniform, a voice on the phone that always sounded a little distant, a little tired, but full of love. Ahaan grew up with stories of bravery, of standing for something bigger than yourself. His mom would tell him, "Your dad is protecting families, just like ours," and Ahaan held on to that. He traced the medals on his father's photograph, imagining the weight of them, the stories behind them. He learned to be the man of the house, helping his mom with groceries, fixing leaky faucets with a wrench that was too big for his hands, and never ever complaining when his dad missed a birthday or a school play, because his dad was a hero, and heroes have important work to do. But being the son of a hero isn't easy. There were nights Ahaan would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering what his dad was doing at that very moment. Was he safe? Was he thinking of him? He'd clutched the worn-out teddy bear his father had given him before his last deployment, its button eyes seeming to understand the ache in his small chest. The silence in the house was sometimes deafening, a constant reminder of the person who was missing. He saw his friends with their dads at the park, teaching them to ride bikes, tossing a baseball back and forth. A part of him felt a pang of jealousy, a quiet longing for that simple, everyday normalcy. Years passed. Ahaan wasn't a little boy anymore. He was taller, his voice was deeper, and he understood the word sacrifice in a way most kids his age couldn't. He learned to read between the lines of his father's letters, to hear the unspoken exhaustion in his voice during their brief calls. The pride he felt was immense, but it was always tangled with a thread of worry, a constant, low hum of anxiety for the man he barely knew but loved with all his heart. He learned to be strong for his mother, to swallow his own fears so he could comfort hers. Then one ordinary Tuesday afternoon, everything changed. The sun was streaming through the windows, just like any other day. Ahaan was walking home from school, his backpack heavy with books, his mind on a history test. As he turned the corner onto his street, he saw a figure standing on their porch, a man in uniform. For a split second, his heart stopped. He'd seen official cars before, and they never brought good news, but this was different. The man wasn't a stranger. He was older, the lines around his eyes deeper than in the photographs. His hair had more gray at the temples. He looked tired, so incredibly tired, but he was smiling. A smile that reached his eyes and lit up the entire street. Ahaan's backpack slipped from his shoulder and hit the pavement with a thud he didn't even hear. The world seemed to fade into a blur, and the only thing in focus was the man on his porch. His father? He ran. His feet pounded against the pavement, closing the distance that had separated them for so long. All the missed birthdays, the lonely nights, the unspoken fears, they all melted away in that single desperate sprint. His father opened his arms, and Ahaan crashed into them. The hug wasn't just a greeting, it was an anchor. It was the feeling of a missing piece of his soul finally clicking into place. It was the smell of home, the feeling of safety, the solid, unshakable presence he had craved his entire life. In that embrace, words were unnecessary. Years of courage, sacrifice, and silence were all wrapped up in that one single moment. He was no longer just a hero in a photograph or a voice on the phone. He was real. He was Dad. And after all this time, he was finally home. This story is a reminder of the unseen sacrifices made by military families every single day. Their strength, their resilience, and their unwavering love are the silent backbone of our nation's defense. Thank you for watching, and if this story touched you, please consider sharing it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that matters. We often talk about heroes. We imagine them soaring through the sky in colorful capes, wielding impossible powers, and saving the world from larger-than-life threats. We see them on the big screen, in the pages of comic books, and in the stories we tell our children at night. And those stories are important. They inspire us, they give us hope, they teach us about right and wrong. But what if I told you that heroes walk among us every single day? They don't wear capes, and they don't have superpowers. Their uniforms might be faded, their bodies might carry the maps of battles we'll never understand, and their eyes might hold stories they can't always share. They are our fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters. They are our neighbors, our friends. They are the ones who answer a call that most of us will never hear. They leave behind the warmth of their homes, the laughter of their children, and the comfort of the familiar to stand guard in places far away. They face challenges we can only imagine, all for the sake of a peace they hope to secure for others, for us. They trade bedtime stories for long, lonely nights on watch. They miss first steps, first words, and birthdays, all while holding onto a picture or a memory to get them through. And when they come home, the return is not always a simple end to the story. The battles may be over, but the journey continues. They come home with scars, some visible, etched onto their skin, and some invisible, carried deep within their hearts and minds. These are the marks of their sacrifice, the silent testament to their courage. They have to learn to be home again, to reconnect with a world that kept spinning while they were gone. Imagine a father kneeling down to look his son in the eye. His hands, which have known the weight of responsibility and the hardship of conflict, now gently cup his child's face. In that simple touch, a universe of love, pride, and unspoken words is exchanged, and then a salute. Not from a soldier to a superior, but from a father to his son. It's a sign of respect, an acknowledgement of the son's own quiet bravery, waiting, wondering, and keeping the light of hope alive at home. And the son, with tears in his eyes, returns the salute. In that moment, he's not just a child. He's a partner in this sacrifice. He understands, in a way that only a child of a hero can, the weight of that uniform and the meaning behind that gesture. It's a promise, a bond, a legacy of strength passed from one generation to the next. This is the reality for so many military families. The strength isn't just in the one who serves, but in the entire family that stands with them, supports them, and welcomes them home. The children who wait, the spouses who manage everything in their absence, they are heroes too. They serve in their own way, with their own brand of quiet, unwavering courage. So, the next time you think of a hero, I hope you'll look beyond the capes and the fantasy. Think of the men and women in uniform. Think of the families who wait for them. Think of the father kneeling before his son and the silent exchange that speaks volumes about love, duty, and sacrifice. Not all heroes wear capes. Some of the greatest heroes are the ones who come home wearing scars and are greeted with the love that makes it all worthwhile. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content that honors our everyday heroes. Ever wonder what it truly means to serve? It's more than just a job or a uniform. It's a promise, a commitment etched deep into the heart. It's the soldier standing guard under a sky full of stars, thousands of miles from home, thinking of family. It's the firefighter staring into the face of a raging inferno, driven by the thought of the lives waiting on the other side of the flames. It's the police officer responding to a call in the dead of night, not knowing what they'll face, but going anyway because someone needs help. This commitment doesn't end when the uniform comes off, it transforms. It becomes the veteran who starts a local business, hiring other vets and building up their community. It's the retired nurse who volunteers at a free clinic, still healing, still caring. It's the former teacher who tutors neighborhood kids, still believing in the power of knowledge. Service is a thread that runs through their entire lives, a constant, quiet hum of dedication. Think about the sacrifices. It's not just the obvious dangers. It's the missed birthdays, the holidays spent on duty, the school plays seen only through a video call. It's the physical toll and the unseen emotional weight they carry, often in silence. These are moments, big and small, given up for the well-being of others, for the safety and fabric of our society. They trade their own peace of mind for ours. And what about their families? The partners who manage households alone, the children who learn to be brave when a parent is away, the parents who watch their children walk into harm's way. They're the silent, steadfast support system. They serve too. Their strength is the foundation upon which our heroes stand. Their love is the anchor in a storm. They are an inseparable part of this story of service. We see them every day. The paramedic in the ambulance, the sailor in the grocery store, the Air Force veteran coaching a little league team. We might not always notice the depth of their experience, the stories held in their steady gaze, but their presence strengthens our communities. They bring leadership, discipline, and a unique perspective forged in situations most of us can only imagine. They are our neighbors, our friends, and our protectors. So how can we cherish them? It starts with a simple thank you, a genuine moment of recognition, but it can be so much more. It's about listening to their stories, truly hearing them. It's about offering a hand, a job, or a seat at the table. It's about supporting businesses owned by veterans and donating to organizations that help first responders and their families. It's about creating a community that doesn't just remember their sacrifice on holidays, but actively supports them every single day. It's about understanding that their service is a gift of safety, of freedom, of time. When we see a uniform, let's see the person inside it. When we meet a veteran, let's see the legacy of their commitment. Let's make our gratitude more than just a word. Let it be an action. Let's build a world worthy of their incredible sacrifice. Let's not just say we cherish them. Let's show them. Thanks for watching. If this message resonated with you, please share it to help spread the appreciation. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that matter. See you next time.